Following the news of Johnny Depp's return to the next Pirates of the Caribbean installment, work at Disney kicked into full gear. Marketers are figuring out how to officially announce it, studio bosses are deciding which script to use, and producers are in full swing preparing for production. Today, we will break down how Captain Jack Sparrow is doing and what role is set for Margot Robbie. In the meantime, we suggest you write in the comments whether it is worth bringing back the entire main trio for a final farewell, or if they should try introducing young actors again. Let us recall that the latest installment to date, Dead Men Tell No Tales, was released 8 years ago. It ended with a promising post-credits scene that hinted at the return of Davy Jones, along with other franchise stars. Initially, the plan was to shoot the 5th and 6th films together, but this did not happen due to production difficulties. However, no one canceled plans for another installment, which the post-credits scene confirms. However, after COVID, Depp's legal scandal with Amber Heard, and a series of Hollywood strikes, the 6th Pirates film got firmly stuck in development hell. The franchise's permanent producer, Jerry Bruckheimer, seemed to be the only one who did not give up and did everything possible to prevent the sequel from being shelved indefinitely. Most likely, he is the one behind the idea of developing 2 scripts simultaneously, one with Depp and one without him. This way, the franchise would get a continuation in one form or another, regardless. At the same time, Bruckheimer repeatedly emphasized that he wants Jack Sparrow to return to the franchise and tried to reconcile him with Disney, because Pirates Without the Captain is a completely different movie. However, in case everything went south, there was a plan B, which consisted of developing a spin-off with Margot Robbie and a strong female component. Robbie has been linked to a Pirates reboot for several years now. The latest official news about this emerged last year when Bruckheimer confirmed the creation of 2 films at once, a reboot and a film starring Depp. After the success of Barbie, Margot's demand in Hollywood significantly increased, so it is quite logical that the studio hopes to build a new version of one of its largest franchises around her, although details regarding her story have not been disclosed. The new film was presented as a reboot, completely unrelated to the previous installments. Basically, this was in the spirit of Disney in recent years, and there is nothing surprising about it. But after a series of high-profile flops, as we know, the studio decided to reconsider its strategy. The agenda is taking a back seat, and the imposition of forced diversity is being excluded from projects. Now, attention will be paid to the quality of projects, the talent of actors and directors, and generally, everything will be wonderful. Therefore, the long break since the release of The Last Pirates, considering recent events at Disney, unironically benefited the franchise. Just imagine how the franchise's reputation would have been ruined if Pirates had come out a couple of years ago, during the era when Disney was busy with projects like Snow White, Captain Marvel, and other flops. But we got lucky, and the development of Pirates is already underway in a new, rebooted Disney, which has returned to its roots in Robert Downey Jr. To this pleasant tune, they also announced the reconciliation with Depp and began production of the 6th Pirates. This information is, of course, unofficial, but several sources reported it simultaneously, so the information sounds very much like the truth. However, there are problems here too. The opinions of Disney bosses are still divided, and some of them are afraid of incurring losses due to Depp's tarnished reputation. Despite the acquittal, the actor's cancellation did happen, and he is only now gradually returning to Hollywood. At the same time, it must be considered that each Pirates of the Caribbean installment brought in impressive sums and recouped its costs excellently, but also cost around $300 million per film. If half the audience stays away from theaters because of Depp, the studio risks losing a considerable amount of money. Therefore, it seems a compromise option is now being considered, so that, as they say, it suits both sides. Depp, understandably, will not be able to, and most likely will not want to, star in Pirates for another 10 years. And the franchise definitely needs a foundation for several installments with a popular actor in the lead role. Star Wars has already managed to snag Ryan Gosling, Marvel got Pedro Pascal, and now it is Pirates' turn. Robbie's candidacy looks like the best option and a win on all fronts. She is popular, in demand with her beloved audience, and has not been involved in any major scandals. However, if she is brought to the forefront, the question arises, why then was Depp's return announced? It is unlikely he would agree to a small cameo, considering how much water has passed under the bridge. Therefore, it is rumored that Disney decided to minimize risks and combine the two already written scripts. That is precisely why filming has not made it onto any production calendar yet, because Bruckheimer and his team are rewriting all the existing material. Honestly, such a decision now seems like a win-win for all parties. The participation of Robbie and Depp in the project will ensure unprecedented interest from audiences of all ages, old-timers like us who grew up on pirates, and a younger audience for whom Margot has become an icon. Besides, developing two projects at once seems too costly. Depp's and Robbie's characters can share screen time equally, firstly, to not slight anyone, and secondly, to create an opportunity for continuation. Despite the boundless love for Jack Sparrow, the franchise needs to find a new direction to stay relevant. Telling one more final story that fully includes Jack Sparrow, while also passing the baton to a new generation of heroes, might be the best way to do this. The fifth installment turned out somewhat incoherently, so the franchise needs at least one more film with his participation to close this chapter of the Pirates saga. Interestingly, details of the unreleased sixth film, which was supposed to be shot alongside the fifth, are gradually being revealed. According to available information, Davy Jones was resurrected and was supposed to take the place of the deceased Barbossa. Thus, the plan was to create a central conflicting duo with Jack to fill the void. Elizabeth and Will were only supposed to play roles at the end of the film because the main character's children were being brought to the forefront. Moreover, at one time, Craig Mazin was at the helm, who, after a series of problems, left to work on the series The Last of Us. Bella Ramsey would have become part of the Pirates franchise if everything had gone according to plan. It is likely these developments will not make it into the plot of the new film. None of the actors have confirmed their participation even in a theoretical sequel, and Keira Knightley, on the contrary, even stated that she does not want to return to her role. Furthermore, it became known that the second script, which was written for Robbie, was supposed to explore a different time period. The events of Pirates of the Caribbean chronologically take place at the end of the golden age of piracy. This is approximately the 1720s. However, the golden age of piracy began 40 years before that, meaning there were 40 years of real history before the events of the new film. The plan was to explore the origins of pirates whom the Spanish Empire forced into a life of crime. From early leaks, it is also known that Robbie's character was named Anne. She is a young female pirate who assembles a crew to search for a mysterious and legendary treasure. Her mentor was one of the characters familiar to us. Apparently, in the new version, this will be Jack Sparrow himself, whose role will not be limited to a cameo but will be expanded. Essentially, it is a classic pirate adventure in the spirit of the first two installments, but with an updated cast of characters and references for franchise fans. Despite the idea seeming painfully familiar, it has an undeniable advantage because the script is universal. It can be used for a main series film, a spin-off, or a prequel. Therefore, such an approach was intended to safeguard the studio from failure and the audience from an unjustified experiment. Naturally, such a script eliminates the need for a connection to the previous installments. If the events of Robbie's film took place after the fifth installment, avoiding the overall plot would be unjustified. If this project became a spin-off that runs parallel to the main series, it would also make ignoring it impossible. In the third installment, the Brethren Court convened, and the East India Trading Company stirred things up, affecting all pirates. So going the prequel route seemed to be the only correct decision, but then again, this will also change now. If the rumors are true, and Disney is preparing a single combined film that will absorb parts of the plots of both projects, then its events will unfold after Dead Men Tell No Tales. This will provide that very farewell to our beloved captain, and Robbie will be given carte blanche for the further development of her character. She undoubtedly has the star power and charisma to lead such a franchise and restore its former glory. It is also worth remembering that at some point, younger stars like Jenna Ortega and Austin Butler were featured in the script. Both were contenders for a family connection to Jack, and Ortega was even rumored to be romantically involved with Depp. However, the actress denied all rumors and also stated that she had not discussed participating in the franchise with anyone, but Butler was indeed considered for the role of Will Turner's son back in the fifth installment. But since that did not happen, Disney still wanted to see the actor in the new film's cast. It is quite possible that when the script is written, they will revisit this option. At least Ortega would look very organic in the role of a young female pirate. As you can see, work around Pirates of the Caribbean is buzzing. The news of Johnny Depp's return generated unprecedented hype, which showed that most viewers want to see him in the franchise. The only thing left is to resolve the script issue in a way that satisfies all interested parties. After all, we are talking about one of the largest franchises of modern times. Therefore, we can be sure that we will definitely see at least one more film. In the meantime, we suggest writing a comment in support of the irreplaceable Captain Jack Sparrow, because it is still hard to imagine pirates without him. Well, that is all for today, folks. See you in new videos very soon.